You ever meet someone and they just carry themselves differently? Like there's something about the way they move, talk, and hold space that feels powerful, but not in an aggressive way. It's not loud, it's not showy, but it commands attention, especially from women, and a lot of the time that thing is boundaries. Yeah, I said it, boundaries, not the sexiest word on its own, but I'm telling you, when a man knows how to set them, hold them, and communicate them, that's when things start to shift. That's when you go from being liked to being deeply respected and, yes, wildly attractive. So today, we're diving into the kind of boundaries men set that don't just get noticed, they turn women on. Now, this isn't about manipulation. This isn't some pickup strategy or how to get her hooked. It's about becoming the kind of man who knows who he is, what he wants, and what he's not willing to accept, and letting that speak louder than any words ever could. So, grab a drink, sit back, and let's really unpack this. Because the more you understand this, the more naturally confident you'll become, and the more deeply your presence will resonate with people, especially women who value substance over flash. Let's talk about self-respect for a second. Not the kind you post about, the kind you live. You know what's insanely attractive? A man who knows his worth and doesn't need to prove it to anyone. He's not chasing attention, he's not over-explaining, and he definitely isn't afraid to walk away when something or someone doesn't align with his values. I've had conversations with women, real women, mature, emotionally intelligent women, and you know what they say turns them on more than looks or money? A man who can say no, not with arrogance, not with attitude, just clarity. Like, no, that doesn't work for me, or I'm not comfortable with that. It's such a subtle flex, but it hits deep. Imagine this. A woman texts him at 1:15 a.m., something casual like, "What are you up to?" And instead of jumping at the chance or playing it cool, he replies, "Hey, just wrapped up for the night. I value my rest. Let's catch up tomorrow." Boom. That's it. No games, no shade. Just self-respect. You think she's going to forget that? Nope. You just showed her you've got discipline and that your time has structure. That's a boundary, and it's powerful. But boundaries aren't just about what you won't do. They're about what you choose to create space for. Like emotional availability. I don't mean pouring your heart out every time someone blinks, but being able to express how you feel, even when it's uncomfortable. Like saying, "Hey, when you said that earlier, it rubbed me the wrong way. I just wanted to talk about it instead of letting it build." That's strength. That's maturity. And yeah, that's hot. We live in a time where a lot of people are afraid to speak up for themselves, afraid they'll push people away, especially someone they're attracted to. But here's the truth. The right people won't be pushed away by your boundaries. They'll be pulled in by them. Because when a man has boundaries, what he's really saying is, "I've got a strong internal world. I don't bend just to fit into yours." And that creates polarity, which creates attraction. There's this myth that women want a guy who will say yes to everything, who'll always be available, always down for whatever. Nah, that gets old fast. You know what keeps it exciting? A man who knows how to challenge her in healthy ways, who doesn't just go with the flow if that flow is headed toward chaos. He's grounded, he's discerning. That's masculine energy at its finest. Let's talk about the dating stage for a moment. It's easy to fall into that whatever she wants mindset, especially early on. But here's a boundary most men overlook: how fast the relationship progresses. Some women will try to move things forward fast, texts all day, meeting the family after a week, even talking about the future too soon. And if you're not careful, you'll go along with it because it feels good in the moment. But a man who says, "Hey, I'm enjoying getting to know you. Let's take our time and do this right," isn't pushing her away. He's protecting the foundation. And more importantly, he's protecting his peace. You're showing that you're not afraid to slow it down because you're not chasing, a fantasy. You're building something real. That patience, that intentionality, that's a boundary that draws the right woman in like a magnet. See, most people think boundaries are just about defense, like walls. But they're not. They're more like filters. They let the right people in and keep the wrong energy out. And here's the kicker. Boundaries aren't rigid. They're dynamic. They evolve as you grow. But at every stage, they reflect your self-awareness. There's a different kind of confidence that comes from honoring your limits, like turning down a job opportunity that doesn't align with your purpose, or walking away from someone who's inconsistent. That's real power. And it doesn't need to be flashy. Women can feel that. It's not in what you say. It's in what you don't tolerate. It's in your presence. And guess what? The women who are ready for a healthy, mature relationship, they're starving for men like this. Men who can hold space without losing themselves. Men who listen, but don't abandon their own voice. Men who lead, not with control, but with clarity. Now, I want to say this because it matters. Setting boundaries doesn't make you difficult. It makes you dependable. It makes you emotionally trustworthy, because the man who honors his own boundaries is more likely to honor hers. And that's where emotional safety comes from. That's where chemistry starts turning into connection. Let's not get it twisted. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But if you can communicate with kindness, stand firm with respect, and navigate conflict without collapsing, you're operating on a whole different level. So, if you've been out here feeling like you have to do more, give more, chase, more to be seen, let this be your reminder. Maybe it's not about adding more. Maybe it's about subtracting what doesn't align, honoring your standards, upholding your values, saying no with love, saying yes with intention. When you live like that, when you lead yourself like that, everything changes. You're no longer trying to attract. You become the attraction, and not in a shallow, temporary way, in a deep, undeniable way that women feel in their bones. So go ahead, set the standard, hold the line, and watch how the right people rise to meet you. That's the kind of man that doesn't just turn women on. He changes the whole room when he walks in.